Hello, my name is Francis Escamilla. I am a senior process developer here at Clear Process Solutions. Welcome to CPS WebTips. Today's topic is going to be a Windshuttle Evolve tips and tricks. We are going to cover how to migrate a solution between environments. For example, migrating a solution from QA test to the production environment or vice versa. In Foundation, users used to accomplish this by changing the deployment profiles. However, in Evolve, there is no option to change the deployment profiles. In Evolve, migrations are handled by exporting the solutions from one environment and importing it into another. I will show you the steps to follow. I have a solution that I have set up, very basic solution, just to show you some of the concepts of the migration. I open the solution in Composer because I want to evaluate any items that are associated to the form, which will also have to be exported and migrated. For example, are there any reference data lists or user groups? When you go into data connections and you expand that, you can see by selecting them and the type that there is a reference data solution that needs to be exported. Select the next one. I can validate it's also a reference data solution, reference data list. The next two items shown on the list are groups based on the name. And if I open up and see the type, I can verify that they're an app group. If you have any SAP, non-SAP connections, for example, a connection to a SQL database, you would also see here in your connections. The next thing I want to do is I want to check if there is any global or local name templates associated to this form. Therefore, I will go to name template, check at the global library level. I do not see anything named the same as my form. I will switch over to the app level and I see based on the name of the template, PO create test. This is the form name template for the solution that I'm working on. I will highlight it. As you notice, some of the things that were grayed out are now available. We will select export. What this does is that it creates a WZIP file with the information from this form name template. Be aware that WZIP does not necessarily mean any type of compressed file style. It's just the Windshuttle formatting that they're using. All exported files from Windshuttle Evolve will have this WZIP file. Therefore, please be very careful by your naming formats and how you keep track of what is what. I'm going to select close. Sometimes some solutions will have solution data libraries. So I will go under solution data, see if there's any. I do not see anything at the global level. Go into the app level and I can see there's one associated to this solution. I will also select it and export. As you notice, also creating a WZIP file. Hit close. Then I'm gonna exit Composer. Go to Solutions. And then the next thing is I'm going to go to reference data lists. In the reference data list section, I am going to export the reference list from the current environment. Please note that in Evolve, you will only be allowed to export one reference data list at a time. For example, if I select cost center categories, now I see the option to export. But if I select any other items, that option disappears. Therefore, I will select only one at a time, hit export. Select the second one, click export. Then I'm going to go to the forms section under solutions, select my solution. Notice that once I check it, I have the option to export it. Select export. The next thing that I will do is under configurations, go to manage groups, and I will start exporting the user groups. In this case, since it's a first migration, I will select all the groups that I need to move forward because I want those users. In some cases, whenever you generate an app, you will have the data reviewer group, the originator group, the solution developer, and solution reviewer group already set. If you do not want the members of these groups from this environment to move on to the next group, just ignore them. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and select them all. For users, as unlike the reference data list, you can export multiple groups at the same time. So I'm going to export all the groups by selecting here at the top, hit export, and it will create a groups with zip file. That was my source environment. Now let's say I'm moving on to the next environment. For example, let's assume that this is production. Once we get to the destination environment, we want to first verify that the destination app has been created and is set up correctly. So I will go under my list of apps and I verify that I do have the app here set up and ready to go. If I didn't have my app already set up and configured, you could create a new app and follow the app setup processes under the administration app. I'm going to go to the destination app under my destination environment. In here, I am going to import my user groups, go to configuration, manage users, correction, manage groups. Now that I'm under the manage groups, as I had mentioned, if you notice, whenever an app is created, it will have 4 default user groups created. In this case, I don't have any users here. I want to move the users from my previous environment. So I will select import. Any group that you bring from one environment to a current environment to a new environment, and the group is the same, if might overwrite what you used to have. So be very careful about which groups you want to migrate. Let's say it's not a new migration, it's more of a update migration. Under select groups, I'm going to find the file associated to my user groups. Select open, hit next. I will select the option to override existing groups. You may not know that. I will also select the ignore the users do not exist error, which means that if a user in a group that I'm moving from one environment to other hasn't been set up on that environment, instead of it giving me an error message, I'm gonna overlook it just to be able to complete the import. Select submit. I will get a message saying my groups have been imported successfully. If I select close, now you can see that the number of users has changed because it's brought in all the users from the previous environment. The next thing that I will do is that I'm going to go to solutions. Under reference data lists, I'm going to import each of the reference data lists that I had exported earlier by selecting files. Finding my list, hit open, click next, select submit. And I will follow the same process for each of the remaining reference data lists in my migration. Select import, select files, find the next list, open, next, submit. Now my lists have been migrated. The reason why I imported first the user groups and the reference data lists is because once I have the solution there, I want to have dependencies already set up or already in the environment. Now that I have the groups and the lists that I am dependent on imported into the destination environment, I am going to go to Forms and import my solution. So select Import, find the file for my solution, select Open. In Next, it has my solution name. Select Submit. My solution has been successfully imported into the destination environment. I want to open the solution in Composer. So I'm going to select Edit Solution. And I'm going to import the applicable form name template, solution data libraries, and any other files that I had exported earlier. To import the name template, I'm going to go to Name Template. At the app level, I'm going to select the Import button, choose my file, select Import. I can maneuver the seed value if I want to start at the previously existing number, or do I want to start at 0? I'm going to leave that alone. Hit Close. The next thing is the solution data library. Switch over to the test app level. Select Import. Choose my file. And here I have the option import type where the schema only, or do I want to bring in the values? I will choose schema only. That's the default, meaning that I do not want the contents of the previous environment. I want every single time that a new form is generated on this environment for it to be new data. So I'm going to hit close. I'm going to hit import. Close. If there was any other files associated to the form, they would go under the file section, either under the global or app level. I didn't have any, so I will select close. The next thing to do is to go to the solution variants to make sure that the SAP servers and any other data connections have been properly updated. So go to solution variants. I do not have any actual SAP transactions within this form, therefore I don't have to do any updates to the SAP servers, but it will look similar to what your deployment profiles used to look in Foundation. You would update your SAP servers to make sure that you're pointing to the SAP instance for this environment. If you're using any SQL connections, you will update those connections as well, and any other data connections you may have. I'm going to select OK. Once I have imported everything and validated my solution variants, I will select Deploy. Hit OK. If any issues on the migration or anything was missing, it would probably give me an error message. The solution deployed successfully. Even though I had selected to launch, I don't think I was on the originator list. Therefore, in order to test it, let me go to Templates, open up the form, do a real quick test to ensure that the form is functioning. My reference data list connections are here, and my drop downs are functioning. And it seems like my form is functioning. This is the way you migrate a solution when you have to migrate everything associated to it, reference data list, user groups, name templates, etc. You can follow the same steps when you're migrating or when you're doing an update of one solution and you already have in the destination environment your groups and your list set up and you don't want to overwrite that. You could just simply export your solution from your original environment and import the solution into the source environment without having to do the user groups and the reference data lists. But basically, these are the steps on how to migrate solutions and evolve from one environment to the other. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us out and contact our team at www.clearprocesssolutions.com or subscribe to our web tips for more tips regarding all of the products that we support at www.clearprocesssolutions.com/webtips. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.